What is the connected universe? Hi, I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media. This is a topic that we have been discussing here a lot late on the channel, going a little bit more informal today, just going to kick back and talk about how we are all connected in this world, in this universe, in the afterlife as well. Yes, I do have my Haunted Road roast coffee on me. So in many ways, you could say that I have been inspired by the Netflix series Dark that does get into time travel, and their tagline is everything is connected. But I've been talking about this for years, and there's a fantastic image from the Chandra X-ray telescope that actually shows how the entire universe is connected. So basically what you're looking at here is warm, hot intergalactic matter, strands of hot gas from galaxies that reach out into space. And really what happens is, as X-rays from supermassive black holes are absorbed by hot gases near quasars, the Chandra telescope can pick up on this. Now, since our universe is expanding, the X-rays are stretched as they travel, displaying a web-like X-ray image of energy. And that's what you see in this particular image, but I think it does a fantastic job of displaying how the entire universe, because you're looking at galaxies, 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 how everything is interconnected. And that is just on the level of the cosmos. That's not even talking about just specifically here on Earth, or us in our lives, or even us in the afterlife. Of course, this is Haunted Road Media, and we get a lot into ghosts, hauntings, shadow peoples, supernatural entities, and the like. But all of these things are connected in one varying way or another. Now, I did mention the television show Dark and the tagline, everything is connected, that they use. And I have been using examples in pop culture in some of our recent videos here on Haunted Road Media, like the Paradoxes video. That was a big one in which I used Dark, Back to the Future. I used some Harry Potter in there, Somewhere in Time, all these different references that in our popular culture shows how some of these different things come to fruition, how some of these objects, places are all intertwined and connected. It helps to show how these things work out in a real world, even though it's a piece of fiction. The television show Lost used the concept of 6 degrees of separation to show how closely related people were on the island, that even though they had never met, they may have been on opposite sides of the world, that they only had a couple people, maybe even just one, in between them that actually connected them together. And we actually see this throughout our universe. We talk about a drop in the ocean creating a ripple effect that affects multiple things across the entire universe. That's basically what the butterfly effect is. A butterfly flaps its wings and multiple things happen across the globe. So one thing happens over here, and thousands of miles away, something else happens because of all these things in between that happen due to this one event. Now, I've also talked many times on here about the idea that time, all time, past, present, future, could all be happening concurrently. I've dubbed that the stacked time theory, and I have some older videos on here that get into that. Also, Inside the Upside Down and Beyond the Shadows shows in which I discuss this. And really, it's kind of my variation of Einstein's space-time continuum. In fact, I was putting this together before realizing he had actually put a very similar thing together. But the idea that past, present, future are all happening at the same time, and on occasion we may get a glimpse of that. So take a certain location, we'll take where I'm sitting, and everything that ever has happened in this room, that will happen in this room, that is happening now in this room, are all happening at the same time. We just can't see it, we can't access it, because perhaps we're on a different frequency, but sometimes two moments in time get on that same frequency and there's an overlap. You call it a time lapse, and we get to see actually something play out from another moment in time. That could be why we see some of these different apparitions or ghosts. And I've heard so many examples of people who have experienced a ghost or a spirit, an apparition that looks at them as if they're the ghost, that they are the apparition. So you see somebody in maybe a Victorian style dress, obviously somebody from the past, but they look at you like oh my gosh, you are the ghost. So you may be seeing a glimpse of a moment in time from the past, but they are actually getting a glimpse of a moment in time from the future. So it's a very intricate way in which we're connecting with another moment in time, another person in time, maybe from long ago or even somebody from our future. But this also could be why we have something like deja vu, why we walk into a location or we're standing in front of a building and it seems extremely familiar, as if we've been there before. Have we experienced that perhaps in a past life? Were we connected to some of these locations via a previous life that we've had on this earth? People feel a pull or a draw to many of these locations and consider it a bucket list item. And I just crossed one of these bucket list items off my list this past November, Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. And for years and years and years, I felt a draw to this particular location. Was it because I had experienced it in a past life? Perhaps, I don't know. But there was a woman there that I talked to, a Native American from the Hopi tribe. And the Hopi are supposed to be descendants of the Anasazi, who are the ones that inhabited and worshipped there at the Chaco Canyon ruins. And she told me that she could actually feel the draw of her ancestors there, that when she was walking on the grounds, she could actually feel her family energy there at Chaco Canyon. So she very distinctly had a connection to those ruins, much stronger than I had. But I certainly had one as well, just on a very different level than she did, but there was still a connection. There's also an idea of genetic memory that gives us this connection to some of these locations, and not something necessarily like a past life and reincarnation, but actually something within your DNA that causes an imprint and encodes a memory into your actual DNA. So perhaps with your ancestors, when you're drawn to some place where your family is from, I have part of my family from Scotland, and I've always been drawn to Scotland. I have family from Switzerland and Germany, and I've been drawn to those locations as well. Is that because within my DNA that there is encoding there that draws me to these locations, that they feel like home? We're already really familiar with the idea that we pick up mannerisms and traits from our ancestors. You may have some sort of mannerism that your grandfather or an aunt did. There may be some sort of connection that you have with your grandmother in which you do things and say things just like she did. And this goes back and back. There may be an ancestor you've never met before, and some cousin or whatever says, hey, you did that just like great-great-grandma, or what have you. These things get passed down, seemingly encoded within our DNA. When it comes to the cosmos, you have to understand the scope here. The universe is almost 14 billion years old. Earth is only 4.5 billion years old. So something else happened in those 8.5 billion years. And there are many scientists today that actually believe that this is not our original solar system, that we were expelled from another solar system, that it went through its whole development, lived, the sun there became a red giant, exploded, and we are basically the remnants of that prior solar system that has been reformed into another. So how all of this once looked, we have no idea if that solar system would have once had life, but how that would have looked, we have no idea. But this may not be our first go around. So how do we connect with that previous solar system? How do we connect with the entire universe? We do so on many levels. You hear a lot of people talk about us being connected to different stars. People point at Sirius as being a place where, we may have come from if, extraterrestrial life came here and settled. And that's possible. A lot of people do claim to have connections to different stars. I used to joke around in 3rd grade that I was from the planet Pluto. Of course, I was kidding around, but I had a friend on Facebook here not too long ago that actually dropped in one of my comments, a little joke, a little wisecrack about being from Pluto. And I just thought how that was funny that, it's something that I used to talk about a lot during that time in 3rd grade, that I was from Pluto. Here's another person talking about it, and it's like, okay, this is funny, multiple people making the same type of joke about having some sort of strange connection or previously living on a planet like that. It's a little bizarre, but I think there is an underlying context that yes, there is a certain connection to different locations within our universe, and that's why we feel a draw. That's why humanity has always been drawn to the stars. We've always wanted to go up there and, visit the heavens and be a part of the heavens in the stars. It's because we're stardust ourselves. And some of that stardust may still be coming down here and affecting our planet. There's the theory of panspermia, where elements and even life from outside of our planet comes down in the form of meteorites or other forms. As long as it survives that entry phase into our planet, into our atmosphere, that it comes here, maybe falls into our oceans and starts developing as a life form. People have speculated this about octopi because they are so different than any other creature on our planet. Are they an actual alien from somewhere else? We don't know. That's pure speculation, but it does provide a type of example of how we are still connected to everything else that is beyond our planet. And we forget to keep in mind that to the rest of the universe, we're actually the extraterrestrials ourselves to the rest of them. And this comes into play into the Fermi paradox, which we were talking about on our paradox video last time around, in which how can we think of the idea of there being extraterrestrial life out there that we are so sure when we have never actually found any to begin with? And that's because our planet itself, in the wide range of the universe, is extraterrestrial to the rest of the universe. So we keep that in mind. At least one planet in the Milky Way having life, all the billions of other galaxies in the universe, that just mathematically there should be more planets with life out there. And are we connected to them? Well, it's certainly possible if you look at the idea of interdimensional beings and astral travel, not necessarily in a mechanical spacecraft that has come here, which could also be true, but through these other means, through interdimensional travel, portals, vortices. We talk about shadow people on this channel a lot. Are these possible travelers from some other galaxy, some other solar system somewhere, that are traveling here and connecting to us on a different level, a different dimension, another plane of existence? Almost like what we were talking about before with time. And it's all these different types of concepts that we're going to continue to get into as we dive deeper and deeper into the connected universe here on Haunted Road Media. So for more videos on this subject, like time travel, paradoxes, interdimensional beings, supernatural activity, please check out our other videos off to the side. I'm Mike Ricksecker. Until next time.